Hi class, welcome to week 5 of the course. I hope you're surviving the experience and are enjoying learning more about science fiction. By now you should have handed in textual response 1, which was on The Martian and on the first set of Ted Chiang's short stories. I'm looking forward to reading what you have to say about them and learning from your particular insights. I'm hoping to have responses to you within about a week or so. If you had issues submitting the assignment, please shoot me an email and let me know. I'd like to talk with you and try and figure out a fix for it. In the meantime, though, we're going to be moving on to our next novel, Ann Leckie's Ancillary Justice. Now, Ancillary Justice was a massive hit around 2014. It basically scooped all of the awards for that year. It won the Hugo, it won the Nebula, it won the Arthur C. Clarke Award. So it got the trifecta. That's pretty unusual and gives you a sense of how highly regarded Ancillary Justice was by the science fiction community. As you read it, I think you'll see why. It's an extremely interesting and provocative work. And this week, we're going to be digging into 2 of the big picture things that make it so interesting and provocative. The first is Ann Leckie's use of gender in her narration. As you'll notice as you start to read the story, she makes particular choices about the pronouns and nouns that she uses within her narration. That's one of the things we're going to be discussing this week, trying to figure out what's going on with it and seeing how we react to it as readers. The second big issue we're going to be looking at has to do with the ancillaries, who give the book and the series its name. We'll be figuring out exactly who and what the ancillaries are, and then we'll be using them to think about bigger issues of identity, of free will, of consciousness. The activity we're going to be doing to get at those complex issues is appropriately kind of complicated itself. So I wanted to spend a few minutes just talking you through that exercise and showing you precisely what you need to do for it. So give me a second to switch my view to Carmen and I'll be right back. On the screen in front of you, you should now see all of the material for week 5. So at the top here, you should see all of the material on gender in Ancillary Justice that you're going to be working through. And then beneath it, the material for the exercise on the narrator's identity in Ancillary Justice. It's this material that I want to focus your attention on since it is a little complicated. So the first thing I want to point out is that I'm letting you pick your own group to work in this week. So you can pick any one of these 4 groups depending on how you feel. I'm going to pick group Eskva just because it's at the top. Okay, that's going to bring up the discussion forum that we're going to be using for the team collaboration. The first thing I need to do is to claim my spot in Eskva. So I might type something like, "Hi, I'm Karen, I'm joining this group." Really, it doesn't need to be fancy and complicated. I'll then hit post reply. Instead of posting the answers to the questions on this discussion forum though, I want you to collaborate on a Google Doc, just because I want all of you to have one set of answers as a group. So you can find the link to the Google Doc in 2 places. It's here and it's here. I'll just click on the more obvious one below. That's going to take you to a Google Doc where you can work collaboratively on answering the questions. Make sure that you put your name at the top of the document again, just so I have a way of checking who contributed to what piece. After we've put your name, you can go through and answer the questions. Now, individually, you aren't responsible for answering all 8 questions. Each of you should try to answer at least 3 questions. If you want to do all 8, that's obviously great, but you aren't necessarily responsible for that. So pick 3 maybe you find particularly interesting, compelling, tackle those first, and then see if you can add on to others. Once you've finished contributing to the document, I want you to have a way of documenting what you've done. To do that, you're going to go back to the discussion forum and leave a second post. You could leave it as a reply to your first post. So I could say something like, I started the answer for question 1, I added evidence to question 3, and I expanded on question 7. You can keep it short, but make it very precise what you've done. And then once again, hit post reply. So at minimum, you should have 2 posts within the discussion forum. Of course, as I say in the instructions, you can use it more substantially if you like. You can divide up the questions in advance, you can claim a question in which you're interested, you can ask for help on a response, you can use it in whatever way seems most useful to you. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. Please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions about the activities or about any of the concepts in the book. But in the meantime, I'm going to go clean up the mess I've made on your documents and discussion forum, but I'll see you around over the next week. Take care.